If you've never had homemade pasta, give it a try. It is bloody marvellous. Once you've tried it, you won't buy any of that shop-bought muck ever again. We have got a couple of pasta machines. Tina makes the Hobbit. Oh, it's that hot I'm getting confused with my words. The Hobbit, aka Tina, makes the dough from scratch. We've got you might have seen it, a pasta press where you can do lasagna sheets, tagliatelle or spaghetti. We've got this thing here, which you can make shapes. Fusilli, macaroni, a couple of other ones in there. You just put a die in the end of it and pump it out and you get tubes. We got mini macaroni today. Yeah, if anyone's interested, let me know and I'll give you Tina's recipe for the dough. It is still hot. I thought I'd just do a bit of a daily vlog. Thank you for the comments on the last video that I put out. I've got a few ideas of videos. It's put a bit of a spring back into my step. Take them off. It's hot. Yesterday it was, I think she said it was 37 degrees in the shade. In the sun it's hitting plus 40 plus. It is super hot out there. As I say, we used to work in that sort of temperature. Not anymore, sod that. So the Hobbit has gone out today. She's gone to order some building materials for the little project we got going on in there. You may see this tin foil. That's not because of radio waves from aliens, this, that and the other. When we bought this place, this room was 2 rooms. There was a wall right where you are. Went straight across here. So the other side of that was the kitchen. And this side was probably what their dining room was. And I think in the room out there was their little lounge, which you couldn't have swung a cat in. So we wanted it sort of open plan. Dad took this wall down and we was originally going to be extending into the barn. Money runs out like it does. We had a few expensive things to buy. Well, we didn't have to buy them, but we bought the Range Rover. That was a rather large expense, but that's a car for life, hopefully, touch wood. We bought the digger, which has been an absolute godsend. Some of the jobs we've done with that, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And to hire a digger in, I was told that it was about 1,600 euros for a week to hire one. Obviously, we paid about 10 grand for the digger. It's second-hand, it's a 2000 model, but it had low hours. I said to Tina, that is quite a lot of hire-ins. And at the end of the day, once we've finished with it, if we ever do finish with it, we can sell it. We bought the tractor, that was another 10 grand with all the implements and bits and pieces. So money doesn't last forever. And so the plans for extending into the barn to make this room even larger, because this house is small, to be honest. I think in total it's less than 70 square meters. Is that right? No, I can't. I think so, something like that. It is tiny. The bathroom's small. It would be 2 bedrooms, but so I've got 1 bedroom as my office, and that's our bedroom. And the Hobbit hasn't really got a room at the moment. The plan is the room through there is going to be her room when we've got this little project done. So this little project, you might have seen it on social media and stuff like that, where I've been putting out posts. I think I might have put something on YouTube, I can't remember. The heat has frazzled my brain. I can't think of what I have done and what I haven't. This is just going to be a 2.5 meters wide by 1.5 meter deep. And we're having a solid fuel range cooker in there with a back boiler, which we're going to plumb into our existing central heating system. We've got an oil boiler in the boiler room. We've got a tank underground. Oil has got quite expensive. It has come down in price. It did go, now it's coming down a little bit. Have you noticed diesel's gone up again? I think she said it was over 180 something a litre again. Robbing bastards. Anyway, I digress. So we're going to run the pipe work from the solid fuel boiler, range cooker, stroke boiler, out into the barn, through the barn into the boiler room, and then we'll have a set of valves, bish bash bosh, that we can have it either on the oil boiler or we have the solid fuel boiler. We have got a lot of wood. We've got a lot of trees that have already come down and we've messed about. We've stacked them up, so we'll go through that and cut all them up. So we've got probably enough firewood for 3, 4, maybe 4 years, perhaps. Depends how we use it. But the idea is with the oil, when you get into like autumn, sometimes you want to just flick the heating on for an hour in the evening just to take the chill off of the house. You don't want to be firing up the solid fuel boiler just for an hour. It's not worth it. So that's the plan with that. So, you know, sort of October, November, where it's still quite warm here in France during the day, you know, in comparison to the UK, if we want a bit of heat, we can have it on the oil. So the oil boiler is controlled indoors with a wireless thermostat thing. We can just up the temperature, the boiler kicks in, pump starts running, and the radiators get hot. With the solid fuel boiler, I mean, I will bring you along for the install and all that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. That's going to be a bit different, because obviously when the boiler's fired up with a little fire in there, the pump's going to have to be running all the time, because you can't have the water sitting dormant in the back boiler, because it will not do any good. So you have to have the pump running all the time. So we'll have to have another pump, which will just be on an on and off switch. You know, there's no thermostat control, so we maybe have to look into thermostat controls on the radiators. But I'm not sure how we're going to get around that, because I think a lot of these pipes are iron. They definitely were in the bathroom. The plumber came and took out the radiator in the bathroom and put some caps on it. And when Dad plumbed in the heated towel rail on the wall, he could then put copper pipe into where the plumber had put the caps on, because there was like a double-ended thing, and you could put the copper pipe in with a olive or whatever it is, and then run that to the heated towel rail. So that all works. We might have to get a plumber in for changing the valves on the radiators. It's old-fashioned radiators, but they suit the house. So that is the plan. So the Hobbit's off ordering more materials for in there, and some stuff so that we can concrete the floor in the barn. If the heat drops off a little bit this afternoon, I'll get outside and I'll show you what we've done so far. But yeah, get making your own bloody pasta. It's bloody lovely. So we do everything from scratch. We make pasta from scratch. Well, I say we. Hobbit makes the dough. I quite often roll it out. Hobbit normally does it. We do the pizzas from scratch. Pizza dough, curries, Indians, fakeaways, I think they call it, innit? With fish and chips with chip shop curry sauce. All done at home. You know, make your own batter. It's the way forward. None of this shop bought muck. Oh, yes, shop bought stuff could be a bit cheaper, but this way you know what's going in your food. There's nothing worse than stuff from a supermarket that's been on the shelf for months, because it's got all these bloody preservatives and E numbers and God knows what. Anyway, I'm not having a rant, because you know, we're trying to be happy, aren't we? Right. I'll probably be back with you shortly when we do something else. Oh, it's bloody Scotch out here. Hobbit's been out. We've had an expensive day today. So we've ordered materials to finish this little project off. Now, this is the other side of that tinfoil thing in the kitchen. There's the opening. We had all that insulated, a couple of doors screwed up there, and I'll put some pictures up as we're talking. My dad did the block work. Now, we've thoroughly ruined his block work by concreting it, and the concrete, as we've tamped it down and scraped it over, it's just run down the sides. But when we've finished, I'll get in here with a grinder, just grind all that back, and then probably paint all the block work up. This is just a bit of an extension of the kitchen. It's 2.5 meters long by about 1.5 meters in, you know, deep. So we've got probably 10 more courses of blocks to go, with a door in that end, so that we can get from the kitchen into the barn in the winter, so we don't have got to keep opening these doors. I probably still will come in through this door. Just saves me, I'd have to get on my arse and go down the steps and get into another wheelchair. This is just come out the front door, down the ramp and into here. So the materials Tina's ordered today is enough to finish this. We've got enough blocks. We ordered another bag of sand. We've got plenty of cement. The the lintel thing for up there. Also, what they call roof chevrons, which go up there, and a couple of sheets of plasterboard. Now, we have already got some plasterboard in the other room. Some building regulation, if you're having a flue run up through the ceiling, you've got to have double thickness plasterboard, so we've got enough for that. That was nearly €1,000, but we've also ordered materials to concrete this whole floor. So that's 11 metres squared of reinforcing, 3 bags of gravel, which are, it turns out they were 1.5 tons a bag, so we'll probably have some left over, and an extra bag of sand. So we've got 2 bags of sand, 3 bags of gravel, roof chevrons, the thing up there for the lintel. We've got some L brackets to sort of fix the blocks to the wall, as Dad's the builder. He does the block work, does a much better job than I ever could. So we're good to go. He's coming on Saturday to do another day's work, so he said we'd probably get 5 courses in a day. That's as much as you really want to do when you're doing block work. You don't want to go too wild because it's too much weight and it all goes all over the place. But then we've got 18 square metres of floor in here that we're going to concrete. Now you can see that bit behind me. We're going to concrete down there first, and we're potentially, that's where the multi-gym's going, and all the exercise bike and my standing frame and all that sort of thing. Trouble is, at the moment, I've got the standing frame in the little room in there. We've got the multi-gym up in the garage. I've got the exercise bikes in this little room with a standing frame. But of course, I've got to get onto that, I'll get on a chair with a ram on it. It's a draftsman's chair, but I get on it, pull the lever, push up. The ram pushes me up in there, then I can get over onto the exercise bike. It's all over the place. So the plan is to have a bit of a gym area down here. We'll get the multi-gym in and all the bike and everything down here. And then I'll come out here and have a session in the gym. There you go. This time of year I'll probably be getting up quite early in the morning to do it and try and shift a bit of this weight. That's the plan. But this concreting floor probably won't be straight away. We want to get this part of the building done first. So that was, that was nearly €1,000. Hobbit comes home, doesn't she? Starts looking on the internet at stoves. Now, she's been looking at stoves on and off for a while now. And the plan was that we wasn't going to order one until we was ready to sort of nearly install it, because, as I've said, our house is quite small. When they deliver it, we're hoping that they're going to bring it into the house for us, because if they just dump it out on the road, it's 200 kilos. What are we going to do with it? So hopefully they can bring it up into the kitchen, and then between us, possibly Mum and Dad and some other friends, we can manhandle it into this room. The one she was looking at was a couple of grand, and I said, well, don't scrimp on one, because it's something that you'll want, and you know, don't just go for second best, because we're good at that. We do that and then find out it's a load of crap. So anyway, she had her heart set on this one, and of course she gets on there today. There's another brand that popped up, which apparently is one of the top 5 leading brands of stove boiler in sort of Eastern Europe, and they ship all over the world. They're quite a well-known brand. I can't remember what she did call it now. Now, if you want... It's half price. It should have been, I think it was nearly 4 grand. I thought, oh, you know, it's a lot of money. It was on sale, half price. The black one, they did a white one, they did a brown one. They was all about €1,900. The red one, $12.99. So guess what? We've just ordered the red one. Now, this little room here, we're going to have a bit of an industrial look. The kitchen's sort of cream and dark. You know, you've probably seen it. The worktops are all dark. The cupboards are cream. The walls are a light grey, and we've got like the old vintage signs up on the wall. This room, we're planning on having it as like an industrial look. We're painting the breeze block walls grey. We're a concrete floor. We're going to paint that with floor paint. I've got some of that. That'll be sort of like a grey as well. And I said, well, really, red won't sort of look too out of place in that particular part of the room because it's a bit of an industrial look. We'll probably have some old vintage signs up on the wall, so we could get some old vintage industrial light fittings or something in there. I do want some bright lights, so if I'm cooking in there, I'm not sort of squinting or having to have a bloody head torch on. So that's the plan for this little room here. So I thought I'd bring you in the barn and show you what's going on. I would have put some pictures up as we were going through and doing stuff. Now this is 4 blocks high so far, so we had to dig out a trench. I went through the water pipe with a spade. I think I did a daily vlog on that. We had a couple of daily vlogs around about that time when I went through the pipe, and then we had all that issues in the cellar where the Hobbit put plumbing skills to test. So dug the trench out, got that level, filled that up, bit of gravel, concrete. Dad come out and he checked the levels. Oh, not bad, not bad. Did 4 courses. He said leave it for 3 to 4 days. So we did that. I think on the 5th day we started putting hardcore in. Now, where'd you get hardcore from? This roof at some point has been changed. I don't know where. It had like the old sort of pan tiles that are really crappy, and over in the Charente they do like these little pan tiles. They sort of under and over, so they're obviously a pan tile shaped like that. So you'd run 2 like that, and then you'd run some down the middle like that over the top of it. That was changed. I don't know when, but rather than disposing of them, they dumped them all in the woods, which is quite handy for us because Tina drove the car up with the trailer. I went up there in the digger. Was it 2 trailer loads of tiles?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 2 trailer loads of tiles. So I was shoveling them out of the trailer into a wheelbarrow to start with, and the Hobbit was coming in here and trying to shovel it into there. Then she decided, let's put it in buckets because that'll be easier to tip in. So we did that, and we got through that quite quick. So that was the first day. Second day, we went up and got a load of chalk. We got a massive pile of chalk out in front of the garage. We ordered more than we needed, but just as well because we've used quite a bit of it. So we put a good layer of chalk in here, tamped that down as best as we could because we couldn't get the whacker plate in there. Membrane down, some reinforcing which we just raised up. I cut some PVC pipe up, just like, you know, as thick as that, to lift the reinforcing up, and then filled it with concrete. 2.5 hours it took us to concrete that. So that's 2.5 meters wide, 1.5 meters that way, and probably about 4 to 6 inches in places deep. So we did that in 2.5 hours. It was scorching out there. It wasn't as hot as it is today, but it was bloody hot. We did know about it when we'd finished. So that's that progress so far. I will keep you posted on progress, basically. And now this boiler that she's just ordered, the original one she was looking at, they're all back boilers. So your solid fuel, you got your hot plate on the top that you can cook on. They've got a little oven. Now the original one she was looking at was 8 kilowatts, which said it would run up to 8 kilowatts on the boiler side of it. That would run up to 10 radiators. Now that's probably 10 modern radiators in a modern house. We've got old-fashioned radiators, and it's an old house. It's only insulated in the loft, and there's a little bit under the floor where Tina can get to it. Now this one she looked at today was 23 kilowatts in total, but it was 15 point something kilowatts on the boiler side of it. So whether it's going to be overkill or not, we won't know until we've got it in. But the plan is also, and the Hobbit has just started getting a bit excited about this, while we're plumbing it in and running pipe work round to the boiler room, to see that you can see those pipes up there, all that in the lagging up there, that's all the pipes for the central heating. They go in the back of the house, and then it runs along up here and it goes into the front of the house. I have mentioned this in other videos. So we're going to plumb the boiler, the solid fuel stove, round into the boiler room, but we might be putting a couple of radiators in the barn here. Now, you're probably saying, well, the barn isn't insulated and it's not this and it's not that. Yes, but we're going to put a radiator in and we're going to make an indoor greenhouse. Which might sound a bit crazy to some of you out there. Basically, build a frame around the radiator with the tinfoil stuff we've got on the wall in there, we've got a massive roll of that, so we can put that on the sides, put some grow lights in it, so we can grow chilies and tomatoes all through winter. And then at the start of the next season, we can start the chilies off early because they'll have heat, and obviously the grow lights, and we can start tomato seeds off earlier, because this year I think we started the seeds for the chilies in April, and generally when we was doing them big time at the old house, I was sort of sowing the seeds late January, early February, so that the plants were sort of quite large and established before we actually put them outside into pots or wherever we was putting them. We've not got the room to do that in this house because it's a small house, but with this indoor greenhouse in the back of the barn here, we should be able to do it. So if we can plumb a radiator in here and then probably have a bit of a radiator where the gym area is that we can turn on and off, I could probably say to the Hobbit, can you just come out and turn the gym radiator on 20 minutes before I come out here? In the winter, obviously. Won't want it on in this weather, will we? That's all our plans, and they all seem to be coming together. Slowly, of course. Massive help from Dad. He obviously does the block work. It did look really nice, this block work, until all the concrete ran over the side. I'll say I'll grind all that back, and if it comes to it, I'll just paint all the block work and just make it a little bit neater in here. But yeah, so we're gonna have a bit of a mammoth session of concreting in here when all this is done. And anyway, that's it for today. Catch you next video. Bye for now.